Good evening, friends. I always think it's a good sign when I can't get people's attention because it means they're having so much fun. They have no interest in what's happening up here because they're enjoying each other's company. So that sounds like tonight. And of course, we've so missed the opportunity to have celebrations in person, be with our friends and colleagues who we enjoy so much. So I'm glad everyone had a chance to do some mingling and some chatting before we got these most formal part of tonight going. But of course, it won't be too formal, but we are here to celebrate our great friend and colleague, Dr. Chau. For those of you who don't know me, I'm Julia Hennigsberg. I'm the president and CEO here at Holland Bloorview, and it is really my honor to say a few things in honor of Tom this evening and invite many people who want to talk about Tom and share their very warmest feelings about him over the course of this evening. Let me start by acknowledging the land on which we work, play, provide care, do research, teach and learn. We are here on lands that have been in continuous occupation for millennia, lands that are the territories of the Anishinaabe, the Chippewa, Haudenosaunee, Huron-Wendat, and Petun First Nations. And we sit here in Toronto and nations that are subject to Treaty 13 with the Mississaugas of the Credit. We as Holland Bloorview, a children's hospital, a place where children have, over the course of our history, lived, have a particular responsibility when we think about the legacy of residential schools. We think about the legacy of the way healthcare has treated Indigenous children over the centuries and the intergenerational trauma and the systemic discrimination that exists to this day. And as a hospital and as a community, we are on a journey of reconciliation, of transformation to do better and to make change. Today, Toronto is still the home to many Indigenous people from across Turtle Island. We're grateful, honored, and humbled to have the opportunity to live and work in this city, on this territory we call Turtle Island. Chimigwich, merci. Thank you. I would like to start by extending a very warm welcome to our many honored guests, and really you're all honored and all special in every possible way. We have hospital board members, hospital foundation board members, donors, family leaders, scientists, researchers, and trainees, and members of Holland Bloorview's senior management team, and of course our amazing staff. All of us are here today to honor Dr. Tom Chau's leadership as Vice President of Research and Director of the Bloorview Research Institute over the past decade. We have immense gratitude to Tom's family for having shared him with us so generously over the past 10 years. And we're so pleased to have some of them here with us tonight. So please join me in welcoming Tom's parents, Frank and Irene Chau. Tom's wife, Grace Chau. Tom's son, Billy, here in person. We have good reason to believe that Jocelyn is watching virtually. So hello, Jocelyn, thank you for joining us. And I hope medical school is going well. Your dad is very proud of you. And we think that Nathan may be watching. It's the middle of the night in the Netherlands, but from the stories I've heard, Nathan, you don't go to sleep early. So we think you have no excuse to not be watching and celebrating your dad with us tonight. So thank you so much to the Chau family for being with us on this really, really important evening. And it's so great to be together in person, also have the opportunity to have people over over Zoom who couldn't be with us in person, so we can all come together. We're celebrating Tom in many ways this evening, as a research visionary, as a mentor, of course, as a leader, and above all, as an advocate and a champion for bright futures for children and families through research and scientific excellence. Tom is the kind of leader that any organization would dream of having. He leads with both his huge heart and his immensely fertile mind. Of course, his heart, his empathy, his humility, his kindness, and his compassion. We all have been touched. Well, his mind, of course, we all know he's brilliant, that goes without saying. But it's a special brilliance because he has the uncanny ability to see the forest and the trees. He can take an idea from looking at the needs of an individual child and envision a transformation to make the lives of all children with disabilities better. From June the 7th, 1999, when he walked through the doors of this hospital as a young engineer, to his 2 terms as VP of Research and Director of the Bloorview Research Institute, Tom always envisaged a future where each child was able to harness their unique strengths and no child was defined or limited by their disability. And this will be his continued work. He's not going anywhere, people, don't worry, he's staying here. That'll be his continuing work as he leads the PRISM Lab. So the past decade, Tom was VP from 2012 to 2022. During that period of time, the BRI doubled external funding and the number of peer-reviewed publications. 14 scientists received academic promotions, and Tri-Council funding, or government funding for research, increased by 25%. And thanks to the generosity of donors, such as lead donor Jason Smith, from whom you will be hearing later this evening, Tom has led the largest research expansion in our organization's 124-year history. I know my colleague Sandra Hawken, the CEO of the Holland Bloorview Foundation, will have more to say about that shortly. This monumental effort solidifies our status as the international epicenter of childhood disability research and a beacon of hope for children that live with disability and their families. Tom also has a passionate commitment to inclusion, diversity, equity, and accessibility, and anti-racism in both the conduct of research and in the pursuit and access to research careers. Under his leadership, the Ward Family Summer Student Research Program offers students for Indigenous students and students with disabilities. This summer research program that receives more than 2,000 applicants every year is one of the most prestigious. And we couldn't be more grateful for the ongoing support of donors like the Ward family who make these opportunities possible. Seized by the injustice of systemic anti-Black racism in science, Tom wanted to ensure that opportunities to pursue a research career in childhood disability research were available to Black scholars. He created Embark, Empowering Black Academics, Researchers, and Knowledge Creators. Launched this year in partnership with the University of Toronto's Black Research Network, this program gives young Black scholars an opportunity to grow their research interests in the field of childhood disability and surmount documented systemic barriers to successful careers in research. And then, of course, there were the past 3 years. Research shut down entirely at the beginning of the pandemic in March 2020, with a huge impact on scientists and trainees. Construction of the new Research Institute during the pandemic, not an easy thing to have to lead. Tom's wisdom, his empathy, his focus on wellness and mental health, his commitment to belonging and racism were present in every discussion at the senior management table as we weathered the biggest challenges in our organization's history. We simply could not have asked for a better leader at this time, at this most difficult of times. I've learned so much from Tom, and I know that every single one of his colleagues would say the same. You know, I have something in my pocket, and this piece of paper sits on my desk, kind of under my blotter, so I can see it every single day. And I don't remember when Tom said this, but I wrote it down at the time, and it's my Tom Chau quote that guides me every day. And this is what it says: "Today is the most important day in a child's life." So every day that renews my sense of urgency in everything that I do here at Holland Bloorview. And it's that kind of leadership that has changed us all from working with Tom. It's now with great pleasure that I invite my colleague Sandra Hawken, CEO. No?
Lisa Robinson's going to go next.
See, this is, not everybody knows the story of how Greg once, as an interloper, tried to become the CEO of Holland Bloorview. And once again, this is him just, doing his thing. I guess we're going to hear from Dr. Richardson. Is this what you're telling me? Lisa Robinson. Thank you. So let me introduce Dr. Lisa Robinson to you, since apparently we're hearing from her next. Dr. Robinson is going to be joining us virtually. She's a member of the Holland Bloorview's Board of Directors and Chair of the Research, Teaching, and Learning Committee of the Board. She's also the Vice Dean Strategy and Operations at the Temperley Faculty of Medicine, a professor in the Department of Pediatrics and Institute of Medical Science at the University of Toronto. Welcome, Lisa, and thank you for joining us.
Well, thank you so much, Julia. And it is such an honor to be part of this amazing special occasion this evening as we gather to celebrate one of the University of Toronto's finest professors and to celebrate the impact that he's made and continues to make on our learners and our institution, as well as to celebrate the transformational research advances he's made in the area of pediatric rehabilitation. We're so proud that Holland Bloorview Kids Rehabilitation Hospital is one of the University of Toronto's teaching hospitals in the Greater Toronto Area. And Holland Bloorview has also been among Canada's top 40 research hospitals for 11 consecutive years. And as many of you may know, Tom is a full professor in the U of T's Institute of Biomedical Engineering. And at U of T, he also holds additional appointments in the Edward S. Rogers Senior Department of Electrical and Computer Engineering, the Rehabilitation Sciences Institute, the Collaborative Program in Neuroscience, and he's also appointed as an adjunct scientist at the Toronto Rehabilitation Institute. So Dr. Chau's contributions to pediatric rehabilitation are world-renowned. He's received numerous prestigious awards and accolades to recognize his groundbreaking achievements, and these include a March of Dimes Lifetime Achievement Award, induction as a Fellow of the Canadian Academy of Engineering, and the Queen Elizabeth II Diamond Jubilee Medal. Throughout his tenure as Vice President of Research and Director of the Bloorview Research Institute, as Julia noted, mentoring students and learners has been and will continue to be a top priority for Tom. So many students have entered the doors of Holland Bloorview and found opportunities to share their creative ideas with Tom and other scientists, catalyzing groundbreaking innovation in childhood disability research. And thanks to Tom's mentorship, many students have gone on to pursue successful research careers, including Dr. Elaine Bidis, a senior scientist in the BRI, who we'll hear from in a moment. For his outstanding contributions to research and innovation in pediatric rehabilitation, Tom was honored with U of T's highly prestigious President's Impact Award and the Engineering Alumni Network 2T5 Mid-Career Award. And these awards are just two among many, many distinguished national and international awards that Tom has received over his illustrious career. And on a personal note, in my role in the Temperley Faculty of Medicine at U of T, I have had the immense privilege of working with Tom on several initiatives. And, among his many amazing qualities, and believe me, there are many, there are three that particularly stand out to me. The first is his absolute brilliance and creativity. And the second is his humility. And the third is his deep commitment to accessibility, equity, and justice, and to creating an environment in which all can flourish. So Tom, on behalf of the University of Toronto and the Holland Bloorview Board of Directors, I want to thank you for your deep commitment to education, innovation, care, and research. You are truly one of a kind, and we are so privileged to have benefited from your leadership over your 2 terms as VP of Research. Please accept my most sincere congratulations and my gratitude. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Lisa. It is now my great pleasure to invite my colleague Sandra Hawkins from the Foundation up here to say a few words. Welcome, Sandra.
Thank you, Julia. Hi, everyone. I always say that Tom has the best hair at Holland Bloorview, but now I think I need to reframe that. Dylan is now the holder of said distinction. I'm so grateful to be here tonight to be able to celebrate Tom. There's been many a time that I have introduced him at different donor events or fundraisers, and he knows that I try each time to one up how I am going to describe it in a way that I know will make Tom uncomfortable, because being the center of attention is not his favorite thing. But when I talk about Holland Bloorview externally to the people in my life, to the community, I often use Tom as a way to personify the ethos and the culture at Holland Bloorview. Because Tom, like Holland Bloorview, is compassionate, client-centric, kind, humble, resilient, inclusive, innovative, grateful, and brave. I came to Holland Bloorview because of Dr. Tom Chau. In the process of determining whether or not this would be where I spent hopefully the rest of my career, I had the great privilege of spending some time with Tom, and I know I'm not alone in this. I've spoken to countless board members, donors, foundation staff who say the same, that he is the person that inspired them to become connected to and embrace Holland Bloorview. And for me, it's because of Tom's vision. His vision that is bold in a way that nobody else could. For kids with disabilities, Tom wanted us, our research institute, to be the best, the first, have the most. And because of him, we're there. We're ready to be the institute globally that makes a difference for child with disability research. And none of that would have been possible without Tom's bold vision. But as bold as his vision is, it's also pure. Tom talks about his lab and his work with such reverence and such commitment to communication being a human right, inclusion being a human right. And like the note Julia keeps on her desk, Tom's a guidepost for so many of us. When I think about research and talk about research to our donor community, the word that comes to mind most is one that Tom's given to me, which is hope. Hope that we can change the world right here at Holland Bloorview. I'm so proud and grateful to have partnered with Tom over the last 7 years, and especially during the period where we raised $32 million, the largest fundraising campaign for child with disability research in Canada's history. Jason Smith, our chair of our board, will speak more to that, but Tom played a pivotal role. Not just because he has this bold, pure vision, or because he's quite frankly the nicest guy in the building, but he inspired companies, individuals, philanthropists, staff, and the general public to dream big, to imagine big, to help join him in creating a world where disability was included. And it wouldn't have been possible without you. I often describe Tom as the gateway drug to Holland Bloorview. People fall in love with him and then get to know us. And I put that not the best way that I can believe it. But you get the sense of the impact. When I first met Tom, we were first talking to people about investing in his $32 million dream. He described the Research Institute as an adolescent, just coming into its own. And Tom, you parented that adolescent in the toughest of years and with the most grace, and it made such transformational and indelible impact, both here at Holland Bloorview, but straight across the world. And this is a man who walks the talk. He is also my favorite fundraiser. Top Case for Kids fundraiser year after year after year. A significant leadership donor, the most generous staff in the history of Holland Bloorview's 124 years, with his own personal giving and investment because he cares so much about this institution, and countless other events with students, matching gifts with bake sales and helping therapeutic plans. I simply don't know what I would do without him. And fortunately, I don't have to imagine, because I am so excited to partner with you, Tom, to help raise unprecedented funds for your lab and to take brain-computer interface to higher heights than we could have dreamed. And it's hard to imagine something more magical than brain-computer interface. But if there's somebody who's going to imagine it, it's going to be Tom, and I can't wait to work with you on that too. So Tom, on behalf of everybody who's been touched by Holland Bloorview, both within our walls, outside, those that receive services, and those that are grateful to be able to give so generously, like many of our donors here tonight, the Changs, the Muirs, the Smiths. Thank you. Because we're flexible on our feet, I am going to have the great privilege to introduce our next speaker. The guy who hired both Lily and I, so if you have complaints about that, that's who you speak to. The chair of the Holland Bloorview Foundation Board of Directors, executive chairman of Real Matters, a titan in industry, and a client family at Holland Bloorview, and the most significant donor to our $32 million campaign, my friend Jason Smith.
Wow, that was too kind, Sandra. But just like to say, I did nail my hire. And good evening, everyone. I'm very pleased to be here today on behalf of the Foundation Board of Directors to honor the extraordinary, gifted leader, scientist, and remarkable person that is Dr. Chau, and to thank him for the lasting contributions he has made to Holland Bloorview and to the lives of children with disabilities and their families, not just at this hospital, but across the globe. As a Holland Bloorview family and longstanding member of the Foundation Board, I have seen firsthand the impact of Tom's leadership. We have been so proud to partner with him on the fundraising campaign to grow the Bloorview Research Institute, representing the largest investment in childhood disability research in Canada. I was personally inspired by Tom's vision, energy, and determination to drive the largest research expansion in Holland Bloorview's history. Oh, I'm sorry. I repeated that. Anyways, it must have been the gateway drug. I didn't get my tongue. Giving us new and renovated space for scientific discovery and collaboration in the hospital and our beautiful new tower, as well as adding innovative research hubs, brilliant new scientists, and our incredible child-friendly research MRI suite. We are also proud and grateful. Tom, we are also thankful for everything you've accomplished here and for the tremendous impacts you've had on our work and his culture as a leader, scientist, colleague, and friend. But perhaps the thing that we're most thankful for, and I think I can speak for everyone here in our wider circles, is that we are not actually saying goodbye to you. I'm so happy that you will continue to change the world with your research in the PRISM lab. It's some of the most inspiring work that happens inside the walls of Holland Bloorview. We wish you all the best, Tom. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Jason and Sandra. Now we've got a few things on video that we want to showcase. So Greg, over to you.
The Order of Ontario was a tremendous honor, a tremendous pat on the back for our lab and the research that we've been doing over the last 20 years, and an incredible recognition for all the contributions of our graduate students. The Order of Ontario makes me particularly proud because for me it's an acknowledgement that the welfare and quality of life of children who don't have speech who don't have motor ability and have very little means of expressive communication. The livelihood and the well-being of these children is important.
Tom, on behalf of all of your friends at the foundation, we want to say a huge thank you. You are the best. You rock. Your leadership over the last decade of Holland Bloorview Research Institute has had such an indelible impact on kids at Holland Bloorview and across the world. Your visionary, your brilliance, your kindness, compassion, and focus on equity is unparalleled. You are adored and respected by everyone at the foundation and all of our donors. We're so excited to be partnering with you and your research lab when you focus there and change the world with brain-computer interface and communication access technologies that no one has dreamed of. But the last 10 years have been like no other. And we just want to say a really heartfelt thank you.
Kids, VIP, PMO, CIDC, Research Chair, Holland Legacy.
Awesome. Thank you very much to everyone who participated. Next up, we have a couple of Tom's very cherished colleagues who also wanted to share their reflections on the time that Tom has spent as the VP of Research. I'd like to invite Elaine Bidis and Jan Andrzejczyk, both senior scientists at Bloorview Research Institute, to the podium. Elaine was recently appointed Bloorview Children's Hospital Foundation Chair in Pediatric Rehabilitation. Congratulations. She is also the head of the Pearl Lab, Possibility Engineering and Research Lab. The mission of Elaine's lab is to develop and evaluate innovative technologies that create possibilities for young people living with disabilities to participate more meaningfully in arts, music, physical activities, and therapies. And Jan leads the Propel Lab, Pediatrics, Rehabilitation, Orthotics, Prosthetics, Engineering, Locomotion, and his research team studies and develops new technologies and techniques to help individuals with physical disabilities stay physically active. Join me, Elaine, again.
Hi, everyone. It's a pleasure to be here today. So I'm not quite sure which is more difficult, writing a winning CIHR grant proposal or capturing in words the admiration and gratitude that we all have for Tom in a way that doesn't completely embarrass him. So to be honest, I actually like my chances with CIHR better, but I'll do my best here tonight as we celebrate Tom and his phenomenal leadership over the past decade. So 20 odd years ago, I met Tom for the very first time when he was working at what was to become the future ERI. During a tour for my fourth year biomechanics class, Tom showcased his virtual music instrument and gave me a completely new perspective on what an engineering degree could be used for. To say that my first encounter with Tom was life-changing is by no means an overstatement, because it was really that day that I found my vocation. 2 years later, I had a phone interview with Tom for a doctoral position. He asked me about various technical skills, which I didn't have. He told me about various research projects he was working on, all of which sounded amazing and none of which I had any experience with. But I wanted to make a positive impact on the lives of kids with disabilities, and that was enough for Tom to take a chance on me. Tom believed in me. Tom believes in each and every one of us in this room. He believes in every child and what they can do if given an opportunity. And in his believing, Tom teaches people to believe in themselves, to dream big, to trust themselves, to take risks and believe that they can change the world and make it a better place. This is the gift that I think Tom quietly shares with each and every one of us every day. Over the years, I've seen Tom evolve in many ways. His vehicle of choice has changed. His sense of style has changed. The length of his hair has definitely changed. But some things have not changed one bit. His kindness, his humility, his sincerity, his idealism. These are all words that I collected from members of the BRI when asked to describe Tom. To quote one colleague who captured the general consensus, I think, quite well, Tom is truly a unicorn of a leader. I know my 6-year-old thinks I'm very, very lucky to work with a real life unicorn. And I have to agree with her. Okay, now that was more expression of feelings than us engineers can really tolerate in one evening. So I'm going to move on to the fun part now. So Tom has received many awards and accolades over the years, and while it's a little hard to compare to the Order of Ontario, we can certainly try. As many of you know, my research team creates video games for kids of all abilities. These games feature a lovable cast of robot characters called Poodles and their adventures in Sky Spark City. Tonight, and I'm going to cue Greg in just a second here, in honor of Tom, it is my distinct pleasure to unveil Sky Spark City's newest citizen. Please join me in welcoming P.C. Poodle. While often found tinkering on his latest PRISM-certified invention, you may also find Professor T.C. Poodle jamming music, thanks to the music in the Sky Spark City Center. Professor T.C. Poodle will be there. When you need to break ground, Professor T.C. Poodle on the job with his trusty electric-powered and environmentally friendly bulldozer. Professor T.C. Poodle will warm your soul with his kindness and your water with his mini-den setup. With Professor T.C. Poodle on the scene, your game just got better because he helps kids and adults of all ages to level up. There is no doubt that Professor T.C. is one super. Tom, BRI, Holland Bloorview, and each and every one of us are really lucky to have you on our team. We thank you for your many, many years of service as our VP of Research and for being such an amazing mentor, colleague, and friend.
Okay, so for those who know Tom, he's got many talents, and one of them is poetry writing. And so, feeling inspired that I could do the same, I have prepared a poem for Tom today. And just some cautionary words, I have not done that or cited one since about grade 6. So here goes nothing. All right. I've known Tom longer than most, and I'm glad to give this toast. Our time goes a couple decades back, and the memories could form us back. But my apologies to you all, if some of my recollections are a little off the wall. Tom originally left behind a well-paying career to pursue his true passion here. Pediatric rehabilitation would not have been the same. Thank goodness that Tom came. I'm speaking of the days before BRI, humble beginnings for Tom and I. Deep in the old building's belly, sometimes even a little stingy and smelly. Not a window in sight. Some days not seeing the day's light. Bloorview Macmillan Children's Center, it was, memories from a faraway past. Tom worked hard to get a foothold, and came the first successful grant with gold. It was an incredible level of productivity, all without drinking coffee and only resorting to herbal tea. I got that right. He quickly grew his team. The research was moving forward with full steam, intelligent systems to control assistive devices, and technology to give children voices. Advances in brain-machine interfaces to bring together families and put smiles on their faces. A visionary with passion and devotion, who better to lead our institution? Tom kindly donned that new hat, and that was that. Growth of the Institute was to ensue, but first it was Tom's hair that grew. Tom should be very pleased. More scientists, staff, and trainees. And inspiring spaces for them all, with windows on almost every wall. Hubs, equipment, and a window seat, as well as the first child-friendly MRI suite. The future for pediatric disability is indeed very bright, thanks to one person's might. Tom, thank you for your leadership, guidance, support, and mentorship. An accomplished, kind, and humble chief. Sorry if this poem sounds a bit like a brief. A person who supported and inspired me with all my work around aesthetic movement. But all this inspiration is not always taken with reservation. I do speak of this left-brain engineer, who was felt inspired to write this poem for you all year. But I really do hope that this type of inspiration does not enable reciprocation. What I'm truly fearing is that Tom inspires poets to practice engineering. But seriously now, thank you, Tom, for giving us all shoulders to stand on. We know it was tough work, but you had lots to celebrate. And we even think that the resulting gray hair looks great. With that, this poem will come to an end. Thank you again, Tom, our colleague and friend.
Tom, do you mind joining us up here for a moment? Thank you so much, Elaine and Jan. You know, we were worried with, Tom wasn't going to do a poem to say goodbye to himself. So we were really concerned that this was going to be a poemless event, but Jan saved the day. So thank you for that. It shows Tom's mentorship. Really, really stuck. We all know that Tom has had an indelible impact on countless families through his research and his leadership. I'm now going to turn the mic over to Ramya Raghavan, who is joining us virtually. She is the parent of a wonderful teen named Ovia Devon. Ovia has been trialing the assistive technology called the Hummingbird with Tom's Prism Lab over the past 2 years. Welcome, Ramya.
Hi, good evening, everyone. Ovia and I are incredibly honored to take part in today's very special event commemorating the work of Dr. Chau. Ovia has been involved in the Hummingbird trial, as you heard just now, and we are now embarking on Dr. Chau's newest project in BCI. And we're extremely excited to be part of any project he has envisioned and worked on because they are so applicable to Ovia's life and to our life. The work that he has done has helped Ovia directly. It makes the difference between Ovia being in a classroom unable to speak to being able to participate in grade level work and conversing with friends. So the work that he has done has a direct impact on Ovia's life and on our life and for so many other children. And for that, we are incredibly grateful. I know clinical research is not easy, and clinical research in kids like Ovia is, a whole other kettle of fish. But what you have done for us has been huge, and we just want to thank you. And the first time we met you, what struck me was how incredibly down to earth you are, And that makes you just all the more relatable for families and for children. And I could see right away that, you know, inclusivity and giving a voice to children was not just, you know, a slogan on a T-shirt. We could tell just from the way you are with the kids that it's really something you truly believe in. And I hope you continue to produce. We are excited to continue to work with you, and we thank you from the bottom of our hearts.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Chau, for all your help. We hope to continue to have more productive equipment and research coming from you.
Name page.
Thank
Name
you for all
page.
your help.
Name page.
Now I'd like to ask Sandra Hawken to join me, and Tom, we're going to invite you up as well, because we have a couple of different things we'd like to present to you by way of appreciation. So Sandra gets to go first.
So we've heard a lot of words used to describe Tom tonight, and one of them that I failed to mention in my speech because I was saving it for now is hero. On behalf of all of your friends at the foundation and all of the donors, I hope that you'll hang this proudly if you're not only the hero for everyone in this room, but for kids across the world. Thank you.
So next up, I'm delighted to present you a gift on behalf of all your colleagues on the senior management team. This is an original artwork created by Lisa Boisvin, a member of the Deninu-Kui First Nation, the Northwest Territories. She's an interdisciplinary artist and a healthcare educator, and has been a featured speaker at the BRI Symposium. Appropriately, this print is entitled "The Hummingbird Teaching." In describing the teaching, Lisa says the hummingbird has the responsibility of pollinating an entire forest, and each flower needs something different to flourish. Hummingbird must figure out what to bring each flower. I couldn't imagine a more apt metaphor for Tom and his care and individual attention to every single child in the family, every trainee, and every colleague. And then finally, so there's a story behind this. We're presenting to you this painting created by clients in the brain-computer interface clinical program. This used your invention, the brain-computer interface, to create. The kids used the interface to create the painting, using the power of their minds to harness that creativity to apply paint to the canvas. The BCI clinical team put together a short video to demonstrate how the painting was produced. You want to take a look at the screen. Thank you to the kids of the BCI. And finally, many colleagues who couldn't be here also wanted to share their words with you, and so we'll be leaving you with this book at the end of the evening. So, finally, the moment you really are waiting for, which is to hear from Tom himself. Tom, over to you.
Thank you so much, Julia. I think I owe you a lot of hugs. Wow, this is certainly well beyond what I was expecting, and I'm really overwhelmed with all of you here tonight. Thank you for taking time out of your evening to be here.
I was telling them, I felt bad and everyone stays already. But the students were here and they were working. So. But thank you, Ramia and Novia, for taking time to be with us tonight as well. They've been championing research and going well beyond the call of duty. They've been helping promote that many in media. And I'd like to just mention some of the staff who've been part of that work: Leslie Mumford, Karim Tam, Fanny Hossein, Sierra Raza, Alina Wauji, and Sharon Wong from the commercialization team. And the scores of SLPs, OTs, and assistive technology specialists who have offered advice and input over the years. Thank you to all of you who organized tonight's event, Sandra Lambert and colleagues from the Foundation, Stuart, Sulan, and all those who secretly couldn't honor my request to forward something good. Thank you for being here tonight. And a special thanks to my grad students and lab staff. We can all have a vacation day tomorrow. And thank you to everyone joining online. Thank you to the members of my family who are here today, Mom and Dad, my wife Grace, son Dylan, Jocelyn, and maybe things and he's online. Thanks for all your love and care, your forgiveness, patience, and trust. And thank you everyone for the generous appreciation and laudatory remarks tonight. I must remind you that I'm only a mortal, riddled with shortcomings and prone to error. And first and foremost, I must attribute any accomplishment during my term as VPR entirely to the good Lord, for he led me to engage in the gift of the career in childhood disability research, and he continues unceasingly to bless every step of the way. And one of those blessings has been the grace to work with Julia and Sandra. Both are extraordinary and visionary leaders and that unabashedly committed to children and families in all that they do. But tonight, I wanted to thank both of you for your friendship and encouragement and support you've given me to me personally, especially during the most challenging times. You kindly helped me when I fell, showed me enormous compassion and understanding in my weakest moments, and urged me to face forward. The hospital and foundation boards and members past and present have been stalwart proponents of our scientific efforts in childhood disability. What were once ethereal dreams, like our new space, have now crystallized into physical realities because of both boards' support, guidance, and generous giving. The University of Toronto has been also an extraordinary partner to Holland Bloorview Research Institute, from the introduction of 3 new hospital university endowed chairs to academic promotions of our scientists, from supporting our recruitment of Black scientists and Indigenous students, to supplying us with a steady stream of top-notch graduate students. So the university has really leveraged influence and expansive connections to advance our effort in childhood disability. Elaine and Jan, thank you for your remarkably benevolent words. It really touched my heart. Know that any effort I've ever made to support scientists has been repaid 100-fold in witnessing your individual successes. What we've been able to achieve as a research institute over the last 10 years is a direct consequence of the immensity of collective efforts and sacrifices of trainees, scientists, research staff, our hospital and foundation colleagues, generous donors, and dedicated family leaders. When I was a postdoctoral fellow, I was asked by our foundation at the time to prepare a local campaign presentation for the research department, as it was called then. The foundation was raising money for our present building. And as a new employee, I didn't have much to go on. I remember scouring through the hospital archives and flipping through old annual reports of our predecessor organizations, the Bloorview Children's Hospital and the Home for Incurable Children, trying to uncover inspirational nuggets. Among the many fascinating black and white images that I came across was a faded photo of an adolescent boy seated in what looked like a wicker basket wheelchair. The picture was taken outdoors in front of one of the original buildings on Bloor Street. Underneath the photo was a caption, and it read, "There, but for the grace of God, go I." And to me, that was a powerful message of humility, courage, and hope. And these words have captivated my heart since. Indeed, as I have mentioned on many occasions, we conduct a special brand of science here at Holland Bloorview. Here, science meets love. And the credit for that line actually goes to one of the media outlets who ran a story on our work years ago, and that's what they titled it. So it's not my original. So what does that mean exactly? Let me share with you some of my observations over the years. One winter morning, as I was coming into the hospital, I noticed one of our inpatient clients who was attending school at Sunnyview. And he was just outside the main entrance here in his powered wheelchair, and he was making circles in the front entrance. And so I noticed this from far away and realized he was waiting for his bus to be picked up to take him to school. And the first dusting of snow had fallen overnight, whitening the bench outside the main entrance as well as the walkway and the tree branches. The air had a minty coolness to it, and the entrance seemed unusually peaceful. It was truly a picturesque scene. As I approached the main entrance, I was very curious in terms of the path that he was making. So he was driving towards the bench that was covered in snow, making a sharp turn, circling around and coming back again at the bench. And he kept repeating that. And as I approached, I overheard the conversation he was having with his nurse. And I soon realized that like any other child, he was excited about winter's first snowfall. He wanted to kick the snow on the pristine snow on the bench that nobody else had laid a print on yet. He could never reach the snow with his shoe because of the angle of his wheelchair, but that didn't stop him from trying. These are exactly some of the human experiences that our scientists study at Holland Bloorview, the hopes, wants, and dreams of children and youth for their own futures, the accessibility of physical environments, the inclusive experiences of children, the developmental experiences that support adaptive brain changes, the changes that promote resilience. Love meets science. Another example, I remember attending a service at my church one day and recognizing one of our family leaders from Holland Bloorview in attendance. He was walking up the aisle in the communion line. And I remember from seeing him at Holland Bloorview that he had an adolescent daughter with disability. The choir was singing, the organ was playing, and people of all stripes were slowly making their way up the aisle. What struck me was that this dad was piggybacking his adult-sized daughter. She had her arms around his shoulders, and the dad, with great effort, partially leaned forward, lovingly calculated each of his steps, while his daughter's feet dangled only inches from the ground. And as I saw this, I was moved to tears. The mental health of families and caregivers, social functioning in communities, technologies to support mobility and independence, full participation in personally meaningful life activities. These are also the topics within the Research Institute's research menu. Love meets science. As part of their training, our graduate students at Holland Bloorview routinely listen to family stories. Family leaders courageously attend lab meetings to present their story and to plant the seeds for future research. Our trainees have recounted that in many ways, these family interactions constitute the most valuable part of their training experience. One observation I've had after listening to many such family stories, I think is truly remarkable. And that is that the smallest among us, a little baby coming into the world, has the greatest impact on our lives. Families have told us how their lives were forever changed, how career plans, personal dreams, all took different routes with the arrival of the little individual. In a bigger is better world, where power is associated with size, grandeur denotes strength, and expansion signifies growth. Isn't it fascinating that the most influential among us is also the smallest among us? Our research here at Holland Bloorview is open to being trained and directed by the evolving needs of children and their families. Our research recognizes that for families, their child, no matter at what age, will always be their baby, their precious, irreplaceable baby, no matter what the world might say. Love means science. The tiniest among us, an infant, a small child, the child within an adolescent, or verily the child within each of us. It's about realizing, as Julia said, that today is the most important day in the life of a child, and for our scientific efforts to progress with consequent urgency, so that today can also be the very best day in that child's life. Thanks again to everyone for giving up some of your evening tonight.
Now you understand why we made Tom speak last. It's been a wonderful evening of celebration. It has been so much fun to share this with the people who are here with us virtually, to all of you here in person. Please don't go anywhere quickly. Spend some time with each other. Spend some time chatting with Tom and his family. It's been a real honor to work with you, Tom, and we're so, so fortunate to have had this time. Thank you, everybody.